facility. And early nepotism laws were very individually,
Fine.
yeah, they were just, sometimes it was just looked over and sometimes it was enforced. So I think I was out there like 3 months or so, going back and forth with a new baby. Oh, I had a new baby
Oh
the year
my.
before they sent me there.
So now there's 9?
8.
8. Wow.
Keep counting. So I got a call and said, you can go back to LA Center, which is great.
Yes.
So back to LA Center, and my husband and I worked different shifts. So someone was home with all those kids,
Wow.
as much as we could.
Right.
We had a housekeeper, usually Hispanic women, and I do speak Spanish enough to, you know, get through
Right.
anything, including babies and diapers and all that stuff. So I'm at LA Center. I'm at 12, and I'm going for my final radar training. Successful. Got through that, and I left out a key point, Terry, at Oklahoma City when I met Sue, who you will be talking to later. I said, Sue, you know, there should be a way where women within the air traffic field can communicate with each other.
Right.
And she said, why do we want to do that? I said, we can help each other. I mean, you don't have kids, but I do, and there's extra frustrations working shifts and having children. And we were on a 2-2-1, which was 2 swings, which is 3 to 11, 2 days, and then you double back to a mid. And so there was 2 quick changes, a 3 to 11 and a 3 to 11, and then be 7 to 3 back.
Oh my.
And a 7 to 3, and then back at 11 to 7 in the morning.
That's gotta be rough.
They called it the Rattler. And for kids, raising kids, it's not really good. Anyway, so that was the first time Sue and I talked about it. Then later I
Had
suggested...
you stayed in contact with her?
Yes.
Okay.
She went to Albany Tower, and I'm way out in LA. You couldn't be further apart.
Right.
But down the road, we kept in touch. I actually went to visit once. She came to visit once. And we understood all the hems and haws about women in a field that was dominated by men. The only way you could be a controller at that time were 3 things. 1, military controller. 2, pilot. 3, radar operator.
Okay.
Which just about at that time were all military training,
Right.
and then into the FAA. There was no such thing as a CT school and some of those things. So Sue and I stayed in touch, and I began to talk to, when I got comfortable, and once you're certified, you know you're not going to be thrown out. I had a Navy friend at Oakland Center, and she had a friend, and I said, you know, we really should get the women together. Not as a union, you can join PATCO if you want to, but as a group, supporting each other and looking for those who might want to be a female controller. So we met in Houston, my friend and her friend, Sue, myself, and we found a great gal from Albuquerque Center. We didn't know her, but she showed up. There were like 5 of us, and we put PWC together.
Wow. What year was this?
1968.
Oh my goodness. Same time Patco
Yes.
stood up, yeah?
Well, the strike was 81.
Right. But they actually...
But they were rattling around.
Yes.
And,
Oh, yes.
I got lots of calls. What were we trying to do? We're trying to break up PATCO. No, I said, it has nothing to do with PATCO. If I want to belong to PATCO, I can. But we want to have a place for women. Oh, what's the matter with you? Grow up. Don't.
Oh my.
This is not Alice in Wonderland. And Anyway, we persisted, and at that meeting in Houston, we all committed $50 apiece. That made $250, and that was what we used to spearhead our first conference, which was held in Bethesda, Maryland in 1979. And Sue did all the legwork with headquarters.
79 or 69?
79.
79. But you first met in 68?
8.
Okay.
But it took us 10 years to get checked out, to get comfortable where we were working, to figure out how we can do this.
Right.
And then Sue was working with headquarters and ran into lots of walls, but we wanted the names of all the women in the FAA. And where were they? We didn't want their home address, none of their privacy things. We just wanted their name and where they worked. And that took quite a while for someone to approve it, but they did. And then we had this huge list of women.
Controllers?
All over the FAA.
Mm-hmm.
And Sue took east of the Mississippi, and I took west of the Mississippi. And we made a flyer. In fact, to make a picture of a woman, neither of us are artists, we used a simplicity pattern of a very nice looking straight woman in a suit, and we drew a headset on her. And I think Sue still has, we still have a copy of that. And we used that, and we individually addressed envelopes, stuffed envelopes with a flyer, talking about PwC and the possibility of our first conference and the date that it was going to be, and we mailed those out, stamped ourselves. It was all do it yourself.
Wow, how many flyers did you actually?
I think I did several hundred, and I'm sure she did several hundred.
Wow.
And we had a lot of flight service gals that were in, just like, I'm the only female here. And I got one note that says, there's others out there?
Oh my goodness.
Because, you know, there's no connection.
Right.
And we also heard that many of the managers who received these, since they were all sent to facilities, threw them in the trash.
Oh no.
All we asked is that they would put it on the bulletin board, so whatever woman was there could read it. So that was a tough time. We didn't know how it would go. We're out some money, Sue and I, and she got the not Howard Johnson, hotel in Bethesda. Can't remember the name of it right now. She will in her interview.
Okay.
And so we showed up. The first morning of that conference, I gave the opening address, and I looked out at these women, and there were 60. And I said, I'm looking at my sisters. I felt very emotional.
Oh, I bet.
It was a great moment, and to be there to acknowledge that we were a group unto ourselves. Very special group, you know. Whether you're hairdressers or your school teachers or whatever, but women air traffic controllers. And that we were there together.
That's right.
It was very moving.
Oh, I can imagine.
Very moving.
Just to know there was a support group.
And because of the oddity, the FAA administrator came.
Really?
Jaylyn Helms.
Really?
It was
Interesting.
way back, I saw it in your book. And men out of the air traffic, ATO, air traffic operations, came to the hotel. We had a sort of a banquet, and we elected Sue the first president. I was the first vice president. And we elected a gal as secretary and a treasurer. And that's how we got started. And then we went back to our respective facilities, and what got in the way that first year or two was PATCO.
Yep.
Waving flags, we're going to go on strike, we want more money, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't belong to PATCO, just personal choice. I didn't think striking was a good idea.
Were you pressured to join, though?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. You weren't part of the team if you didn't.
Ah,
You weren't playing the game. And then they used PwC as sort of a wedge that you want to be different. No, we want to be air traffic controllers. We just want to be here too. And then the strike came down in 1981, August 3rd, and some of the gals went.
really?
And they would call me, and I said, no, don't go, don't go.
Mm-hmm.
The FAA will survive without you. I had one friend who had been in the Navy with me 10 years, and she had a couple of years with the post office before FAA. She had 27 years government time when she walked.
Oh my goodness. It's heartbreaking.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she called me several times. I said, no, Jane, you need to go to work. Go back, say you're sorry, fall on your knees, whatever. But what she did is she survived the years that the FAA wouldn't take you back.
Mm-hmm.
And then after those years, I think it was Clinton.
Right.
Reagan fired.
Yes.
Clinton forgave. And Jean had gone to work for oil company in Houston area. And she did drafting and some computer drafting, and so she stayed engaged. And then when the hiring was back, she went to work for AF
Ah,
as a secretary.
oh,
She only needed 3 years
Oh, good point. So she was, yeah.
to get 30.
Mm-hmm.
She had 27. So she finished her years, did her job, enjoyed the AF group there at Houston Center, and retired.
One of the few strikers who made it. Right?
Yes, yes,
Amazing.
yes, but it was
Wow.
tough. And for women, there was a lot of women in flight service during those years,
Mhm.
which aren't there now. PwC would have collapsed. 1972, no, 82. We had our conference back in Washington, D.C. If it hadn't been for flight service, there wouldn't be anybody there. Because if you hadn't been fired, then you were busy working.
Right.
And so to get our numbers together,
Mm-hmm.
that was quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And but our small group survived, and we went on, and I just appreciated our flight service gals so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry that they left the family of air traffic control
Mm-hmm.
in that whole big way it went. But we have survived now 40.
That's amazing.
And this is our 40th conference.
Wonderful.
And
Have you attended all 40?
37.
Oh my goodness.
1 year I was getting married, and 1 year I was sick or in the hospital, and I don't remember the other year. But yes, I have gone to, and we have 4 gals here that have been to 40.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And they're here every year, and you should, however your taping goes, get their names or
Yes.
meet them,
I will.
and they're great,
Oh, I can imagine.
and they're still helping with conferences.
Amazing.
So, down the road in my career, after I left LA Center in 1979 for a job in airspace and procedures in the regional office in LA,
Mhm.
and I did that, and then the following year transferred to Great Lakes regional office in evaluations.
Mhm. Were you getting promotions?
Well, I was already at 13,
Okay.
and these positions were staff.
Mhm.
So I'm getting this sidebar experience
Right.
to go with what I wanted to be, which was a supervisor. Oh, I had made supervisor at Los Angeles Center
Mm.
in 80 and 77, I think.
Okay.
77.
Any problem with, because it was still at that point largely male controller population.
Well, I bid and bid and bid, and I didn't, but this last one, they finally said, well, I guess.
got
And
rid
I
of seeing your
became
name on
the
the list. Huh?
first female supervisor at Los Angeles Center.
Wow.
And,
no problem managing the men?
oh, it was challenging.
I bet.
It was challenging. They'd play jokes on me. Every night my purse would be full of strip holders and anything they could do. They'd come into work and there'd be a Playboy on the manager's, the supervisor's desk. There was games they played.
Mm-hmm.
But as the mother of all those kids,
You knew how to deal.
I did. And I held up the Playboy and I said, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Can't have this at work. And I made a big demo of dropping it in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
And those were expensive magazines back then. Probably still aren't. But I enjoyed being a supervisor, and I enjoyed when I, after some time, earned the respect of my team.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to make a joke that my team weighed over 4,000 pounds, the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that detail down the regional office, and
Now, did children and husbands stay in
yes.
California?